Instagram, YouTube. What up, y'all? Hey, y'all. Show me some love. Give me a shout out in the comment section. Tell us where you're watching from. What up, Framly? It is Framly time. The kiddies should be in the bed. Everybody should be on Thanksgiving break, so the kids ain't got no homework. They might be up a little later then. They out of school. I guess they get a reprieve. What up, Framly? Let's have some fun tonight, Framly. I want to talk to you about a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Not because I've experienced this, but because I really worry about our country. No, I'm not getting ready to go into politics on you. So rest assured, the election's over. Everybody is exhausted with politics. Rest assured, I am not going there. But I am going to speak on a topic that is important to me because anybody who follows my feed, you see me posting this topic quite often. I call it Paternity Court Chronicles. Or you may hear me refer to it as Paternity Court Fuckery. Big shout out to the Framly. I hope y'all doing okay on this fine evening. Some of y'all probably in the kitchen chopping up vegetables. You're cutting up celery. You got the cilantro or the parsley. Got the onions. You got the bell pepper. Got some sweet potatoes on the stove. Got the cornbread in the oven for the cornbread dressing. Notice I did not say stuffing. I said dressing. There's a difference. Family, I want to hit y'all on this topic. The one we're going to talk about tonight is Paternity Court Chronicles. I've been watching a lot of Paternity Court lately, whether it's, I understand Paternity Court is a trademark name that belongs to Judge Lauren Lakes in her courtroom. But when I refer to Paternity Court Fuckery or Paternity Court Chronicles, I'm referring to whether it's from Maury, Judge Lauren Lakes, Paternity Court, whether it's from Karamo, whether it's Judge Mathis, any place that they do paternity court or do paternity tests and give the results on TV. I am just obsessed with watching this fuckery. There are some very, very sad cases in there. And as you guys know, when I'm getting ready to talk about some fuckery between men and women, I always hold the men accountable first. Men, wrap it up. Put a condom on it. Put 2 condoms. If you need to, put 2 condoms and duct tape on the end of that thing. Stop making babies. It's real simple. It even rhymes for you. Marry before you bury your seed in a woman. Men, marry before you bury your seed in a woman. That will eliminate a whole bunch of these paternity court situations or DNA fuckery, DNA results that come out. Please. Oh my God. I know it's, an emotional time during the birth of a child, and you're thinking, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and sign a birth certificate. Get a DNA test before you sign a birth certificate. Mothers, Teach your sons to get a paternity test. I don't care how in love they are. Teach your sons to get a paternity test before they sign a birth certificate and acknowledge paternity. Fathers, you need to be in the household with your kids. If you ain't in the household with your kids, still be in their life and teach them. Get a DNA test before they sign a birth certificate or acknowledge paternity. I already did a podcast about teaching your kids to show up to court when they get a acknowledgement or a court order subpoena to be in court to give a DNA sample to establish paternity. If they don't show up for court, they are by default deemed the father. And you can come back to that same exact court, that same exact judge a week later and go, look, I am not the father of this child. Here's DNA proof. I have DNA proof that says I am not the child's father. And you may still be legally accountable because at that point, you have already been deemed the legal father. You may not be the biological father, but you may be deemed the legal father. So, parents, teach your kids to go to court when they get that DNA subpoena to establish paternity for child support court. Not going to court is the easiest way to put you on the hook for the rest of your life and change your future. You're talking about one man, he's paid $100,000 in child support. You got to go to court. There is no way around it. You must go to court. Besides going to court, get a DNA test. Nowadays, back in the day, I understand there was no DNA. Then you had to wait for the baby to be born to get a DNA test. Now you can get a DNA test before the child is even born. It is worth the money. I know it's expensive if you do it before the birth, but at some point you got to do it, whether it's before the birth, after the birth. Just don't be there. Go to all the appointments if that's what you want to do. Once you get the DNA results, if the child is not yours and you still want to be there, you can do that. But at least you will do so knowingly. This decision represents a larger problem in our society. Our medical science world has far surpassed the family court world. The family court uses this phrase, we do what's in the best interest of the child, which means they are truly willing to fuck you over as a man. Mothers, your sons are being fucked over, your nephews, your grandkids, everybody. They are willing to fuck any man over for the best interest of the child. And I understand there are great intent behind doing what's in the best interest of the child. But the court system will determine whoever they can at first to be the person responsible, and then they just wash their hands of it. And the problem with that is they are letting the biological father avoid responsibility for taking care of their child and forcing another man to take care of that child. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. I plan on reaching out to some politicians, and I know nobody is going to want to take up this bill, but I plan on writing a whole bunch of politicians to see about getting something done about this. It is past time we as a society address this. If a man is not the father, he should not be held accountable. I understand there may be some who say he should get all his money back. Let's take baby steps. Let's just stop him from paying child support for a child that is not his. You're talking about men spending time in jail because they're behind on child support and the child's not even theirs. So My call, my charge, my ask of you, teach your sons, nephews, grandboys, whoever, if you're going to mentor a young man, teach them to get a paternity test before they sign a birth certificate. In some states, that is an irrevocable decision. That one moment of emotion you may have when you see that child come out, and it is a significant emotional event. For a man to be in a delivery room, you typically only get to do that when it is your child. Maybe if it's your daughter, but usually you only get to do that when it's your child. So I understand we get emotional during those times. We should. It's a beautiful experience. Oh my God, it is a beautiful experience. I've had that pleasure. But don't allow that moment of euphoria, whatever you're feeling, to make you sign a birth certificate for a child that may not be yours. If you still want to take care of that child after you determine you are not the biological father, go for it. That is your choice. You can do so knowing full well that you are not the father, but you choose to be a father. There's nothing wrong with being a stepfather. If that's what you want to do, go for it. Do it. There are plenty of great men who have decided to raise children just like they were not, or just like they were their own. No shade to them. I've been there myself. But do it knowing what you are getting into. We're gonna run this first clip from Judge Lauren Lake's paternity court. Shout out to Judge Lakes, Jerome, her bailiff, Ron, who sometimes fills in. Yes, I watch the show way too much if I notice those little details. But in just about all the clips I have for you tonight, every one of the women who said that the man was the father, they swore, some of them even swore before God, that there was no other possible man. And some of the women even get indignant when they are proven wrong. They swear, oh, there is no other possibility. The DNA test is wrong. No, it's not. You were sharing that thing with somebody else, and I'm not faulting you for sharing your vagina with whoever you want to give it to. I am sex positive. Have all the sex you want, but know who the father is. And if you don't know, okay, fine. That's why they have DNA tests. Here's the first clip. Let's see if we can get this one to play.
She admitted that she was with someone else.
Did you admit you were with someone else, Ms. Jones-Henry?
Yes, it is. It's true.
I've never admitted that I was with anybody else. As for me, I've always told her Clarence was her father. That the Clarence was her father and knew.
That's because I was the only one she could get hold of. The guy that she was supposed to have been with, she couldn't find him. So then she came to me.
So, Ms. Jones-Henry, was there any other guy? Were you with any other guy during the time
No, you.
your daughter was conceived?
No, you.
So take me back. No, he had doubts. When he signed that affidavit acknowledging paternity, did you think that that was basically an acknowledgement even to you? Like, yes, Melody is mine after all these years. I just want to say.
And the other turned out, I know would have fought. They would have came. They would have fought.
So you're saying you never had any doubts because there were no other men?
I never had any doubts.
But were there any other men?
No.
That's a two-part question.
No, there were no other men.
Determined by this court. Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Really? I didn't have any.
He is not the father.
I did not.
You point all that blame on me, and you put your daughter through all that for nothing. That's just...
I don't blame you. I just wish you would have take care of your business then so I wouldn't have to suffer now.
That woman was asked in court multiple times. And again, I'm not criticizing her because that's not what this is about. But she was asked in court multiple times if he was the father. And she said there was no other possibilities. I wasn't having sex. She even got indignant and was like, I am not that type of woman. And yes, I've spliced the clips together for the purpose of brevity. But he was not the father. And yes, he paid child support for 18 years of his life, maybe even more. That could have been avoided with a simple DNA test. That child was 35 years old. And I understand we can go back in time and go, okay, we didn't have these options back then, but now we do. So there is no excuse for repeating this process. We do not have to do this again. In that clip, you saw the mother. She just was so certain that he was the father. Let's check out this next clip.
Biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
No other possibilities?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Taylor, do you still stand by your position that you believe you are not baby Eric's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Nothing you've heard in this testimony today has changed your mind?
No, Your Honor.
Gnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Taylor versus Orr, when it comes to 6-week-old Eric Orr, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Taylor, you are not the father.
He is not the father. And again, you saw the judge ask her multiple times, were there any other possibilities? She stuck to her answer. No. Turns out he was not the father. Men, women, teach your kids, your nephews, your grandsons, the kid down the street you mentor, the guy from the Boys and Girls Club, whatever. Teach them to get a paternity test. Mothers, teach your daughters to get a paternity test. Based on the evidence, there are more than enough videos of people who swore they had the conception date exactly down and they know when they conceived and they were wrong. Mothers, tell your daughters to get a paternity test. That way, you do not have a child 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 30 years old and finding out that the man they thought was their father is not, especially if that person has not been around and these kids are mad at a man that they've never met or a man they barely know for not being the father that they felt like he should have been when he's not even the father. A real world situation I'm going to briefly tell you about. Man and a woman were a couple. She was pregnant. They were not married. He said he wanted to get a DNA test. The mother told him, if you get a DNA test, we are done. If she had said that to me, okay, you just going to have to be mad at me because I need to get this DNA test just to make sure. And if that's going to make you leave me, then you got bigger problems. I'm hoping some of that had to do with just pregnancy hormones and maybe being a little irrational at the moment, but do not let something like that scare you off from getting a paternity test. There are plenty of mothers who honestly do not know who the father of their child is. We're not here to criticize them. We're just saying for the best interest of the child, mothers, teach your daughters to get a paternity test. Have tough conversations with them. Have the tough conversations. Here's another video. And yes, the videos are spliced together for brevity.
Trying to be the dad. I need a father for my child, not a dad. You're the dad. You're the sperm donor. I need my son to have a father.
All right, I'd like to hear from your mother.
Free up is he looks like his side of the family.
He looks like an Ethiopian baby.
Really?
Yes, he does to me. He's from day one when I
Look at that first, though. Look at that
This is
hairline.
King.
That's King.
And the next photo is Mr. Tidwell as a baby.
Look at the ear marks, the ear tags. There's nobody else.
Miss Harrington?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tidwell. You are not his father.
Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
From the bottom of my broken heart, Wallace Tillwell, I'm sorry. And to your whole family, I apologize. I have no idea who his dad is at this point.
We knew that.
Let's give her a moment of applause. She is one of the few women who actually apologize to the man. Most of the women, when they find out they're not the father, I'm sure their head is spinning because they just got it in their mind that that's the father. Most of them don't even apologize to the man, especially after the way they just talk about him like a dog in court. She said she honestly does not know who the father of her child is. This is not a one-off situation. I have watched hundreds of episodes, and I don't mean 105. I'm talking about 300 episodes of 500 episodes of different paternity type shows. And there are plenty of women who simply do not know who their child's father is. I am not here to criticize them. That's a whole different discussion. I want to make sure kids know who their fathers are. Men, make sure that child is yours. There are a lot of women who say, oh, well, we were in an argument and I told him he wasn't the father of the baby anyway. That's a low blow. That is a unfair fight. But once you ring that bell, you cannot unring it. Find out, men and women, get a paternity test. That way you will know the right thing to do for your child. Here's the last clip I'm going to show you. We try to keep these podcasts short.
Miss Miller, when you got pregnant, you knew he was the biological father?
Let's pause for a second. This man has paid over $100,000 in child support. And he knew he wasn't the father, but this woman insisted that he was the father.
Miss Miller, when you got pregnant, you knew he was the biological father?
He was about. He was the only one I was sleeping with.
He knew, didn't he?
He the one told me he was. He told me upon conceiving that I was pregnant.
Really?
I don't recall.
I do.
I just don't recall.
I don't know how you can forget that. We talked about
forget
it.
a lot.
Miss Garnett, did Mr. Langston participate in the birth?
Not at all. He didn't have, he was just not that type of person. I didn't even expect him to.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No.
I paid child support not only 18 years, I paid it 20 years.
But when
They
you
started
start-
sending me checks back for overpayment, 1,700, 800, 1,000, 500.
So how come you didn't take that?
I was devastated. I felt like he was taking my identity away from me because I always known I was a Langston.
And I have so much about my father. When he came back into my life when I was an adult, it was like a piece of the puzzle was missing. And we became best friends. I found out why I was so directionally challenged, because he is. There's so much. He's been in Chicago all his life. He still get lost. I get lost in a circle. Not only the personality, there's just so many other things, and we just bonded and clicked. I don't think we would have been able to do that if he wasn't my father.
All this confusion, you began to post on Facebook. You put this post up. Can you please step up to the plasma and tell the court why you posted this?
So, after the text message, I did some soul searching. I was just laying in my bed looking through my phone, and I saw a picture of myself, this picture, and it reminded me of this picture of my grandfather. This is Mr. Langston's father. And I noticed some similarities in our faces. And I posted it to Facebook to get some support about the situation without putting all my business out there. I said, it's my grandfather. Do you see the resemblance? You know, I even had cousins respond, oh my goodness, you look just like Papa. I never realized that.
And you said people supported you in this.
They did.
They said, yes, you do look like your grandfather.
Yeah, they were even shocked.
And that further made you feel like this man is my biological father. I just look like my grandfather.
Yes, it gave me more comfort.
Mr. Langston, do you?
I looked at him like he was my family. I looked at his mom like she was my mom. I never looked at him in any other way.
And so there's absolutely no doubt in your mind that Mr. Langston is your daughter, Miss Garnett's biological father.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, in light of all of this, I think it's time to get the results.
That's right.
Versus Langston. When it comes to 36-year-old Shauna Garnett, Mr. Langston, you are not the father.
Are not the father?
He is not her biological father.
Now don't look at me. Ask her who your daddy really is.
That man paid $100,000 in child support for a child that wasn't his. I've heard some of the dumbest things from men in paternity court. Oh, the baby too light-skinned. That baby can't be mine. It's your child, idiot. Children come in all different colors. Or one guy, the one who had the dumbest thing I've ever heard, he said, I have broad shoulders and the baby does not have broad shoulders. So that's why the child can't be mine. You know what? I take that back. I've heard one even dumber. I've heard men go to paternity court and go, I can only make girls. I don't make boys, or I can only make boys. I don't make girls. Dumb shit. Oh my God, I just want to just slap them hard. But at the end of the day, you saw that young lady said, oh, I posted pictures of us together on Facebook and other people said, oh, we look just alike. Means nothing. Oh, we got the same nose. It means nothing. We both have a 6 finger. Means nothing. It does not mean anything. I don't care how much y'all look alike, how much you don't look alike. I don't care what similar habits y'all have. The girl used the justification that her father was directionally challenged and she's directionally challenged. She couldn't be that way if her father wasn't that way. He was not the father. So, I say this to say, teach your kids, boys and girls. Teach your friends, your nephews, your aunties, your uncles, whoever it may be. Teach them to get a DNA test and solve these situations early. Worst case scenario, everybody, the man is the father that believes he's the father during the birth, and no harm, no foul. That is out the way. The man can never come back and say 5 years from now, down when there's an argument about something, I don't think that's my kid. No way. You already know. You've got the results. Find out early. For the men who say, oh, well, I shouldn't have to pay for a paternity test. Okay, fine. Go to one of these paternity courts or go to your court system in your community and you can get a free paternity test. They may add it to a fee or something later, but you might get one for free, you might not. But even if you pay $500 for a paternity test, depending on your income, that's 1 month of child support. I would much rather pay the 1 month of child support and get a DNA test to know if I'm the father, to know that my significant other is the father, to know that my spouse is the father. Get that done and over with. legislatively, some things need to change in this country. Just because a man is married to a woman, if a child is born, he is presumed by default to be the father. We have got to get this fixed. It is going to take a long time to get this through enough court systems to make this the law of the land. This actually needs to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Our legislators need to do something about this, but they are too coward and too chicken crap where they will find some reason to avoid this. But we have to do something about this. If a man was convicted of committing murder, and then they determined a year later, oh, you know what? He did not do it, he would be released from jail. But if a man shows up a month after establishing paternity for a child and he has undisputable scientific proof with the DNA test that says, I am not the father, guess what? He's still stuck for 17 years and 11 more months. It's wrong. It needs to change. We are going to have to fight. We are going to have to make some noise. We are going to have to make some people uncomfortable about this to get this changed. Folks, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed. Drop a like, drop a comment, drop a share, let somebody else see this. So I ask that you please do that. Go to our Facebook page, Family Talk. Give us a like, follow the page. Instagram, Family Talk. You can find us on YouTube. Please like the videos and subscribe so you'll always get the latest podcast. If you want to submit some ideas for a podcast, I have no problem doing research. So drop an idea, send it by messenger, send it by message. You can email us at familytalk@gmail.com. I am all for having some great topics that you all would be interested in. With that, folks, have a great holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Spend great time with family. When that one crazy ass uncle brings up politics, shut him down. We don't want to ruin a good family outing by talking about politics. Eat as much as you want. Show some love to your family. Thank you, folks. Take care.